Hey guys, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel. My name is DeLady Designer, and we are back with another speed build video of our safari boat ride. And in this episode, I first wanted to build a gorilla habitat with some kind of dry stone towers and roots and stuff, but I wasn't really happy with how that was looking, and I was missing a little bit more of the natural feeling I am going for with this whole build. So in the end, I decided, nope, no gorilla, at least not for this episode. We're gonna do something completely different, and we're going to build a giant otter habitat. As I have been talking about a few episodes that I wasn't really sure how to add the giant otter habitat, and I didn't want to do the same with like the underwater tunnel that we did with the hippo already. I wanted to do something else, something that we didn't do yet. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to build on one side an underwater viewing gallery, and on the other side more of a normal viewing gallery, but I will talk about that in a later stage. So obviously, first of all, I had to make sure that the water wasn't too wide next to the boat ride itself. So I really had to make it a lot smaller because I made it quite big for the gorilla habitat in an earlier stage, but I had to reverse that back a little bit. And for the underwater viewing, I really wanted to make sure that it was deep enough for an underwater feeder to work. So I took my 6-meter wall and I made sure that that was the right height for the underwater viewing gallery area in our habitat. And also I really wanted to make sure that the water was wide enough to make sure that the giant otters would actually dive, obviously. So if you have any issues with making underwater viewing galleries for aquatic animals, and you're looking for some help, some tips and suggestions, I highly recommend you to watch my underwater viewing tutorial for aquatic animals. Or if you also need help for clear water with your underwater viewings, I also made a tutorial for that. That was actually something I was working on. At first I thought I'm going for a clear underwater viewing gallery, as you may see during the speed build video. But in the end, I actually wasn't quite happy with it. As I also mentioned in that tutorial, I'm actually not always a fan of very clear water. Like, it can work, I think, especially with indoor habitats. But for me personally, the more murky water looks just more realistic. So in the end, I actually just made sure that a little tiny bit of glass was still visible, and I changed the water into more murky water. But if you make sure that your habitat is not like super wide, it's not really that annoying or anything, and it does look more realistic to me. So yeah, we don't have any clear water in this underwater viewing gallery, but we have more murky water in the end. So obviously we also had to make sure that the terrain was high enough for the boat ride to get under, and I was really happy to see that the boat ride is also able to go underneath that aquatic rock tunnel thing. I'm not really sure, archway, how you want to call it. But it was really cool to have that and use that for the entrance and the exit for the boat ride itself. So underneath the underwater viewing gallery, I obviously made sure that we have this underwater feeder that is actually working to make sure that the otters will dive more. Although the otters are definitely good divers, and I think they have a lot of fun just diving in general without a feeder even to work. And I also covered the whole flooring with a lot of these small aquatic rocks because it looks so beautiful and I just really love it. But actually the guests can't really see it, so I also covered the flooring with a lot of aquatic plants, but also those plants can't really be seen. So in the end, I ended up with using some more higher plants and stuff there that might not be per se underwater plants, but I really just wanted to use those, and I'm not really bothered about that. There are plants underneath the water. They may not be the exact same plants as I'm using right now, but I think that's totally fine. And I do really like how the underwater viewing gallery has turned out, even though it's a very simple, very small one. And on the top of the underwater viewing, I did use a lot of the new water lilies we have. Only the downside was that I had to remove a few of them because the giant otters actually could not dive anymore. So that was kind of a pity. And on the other side, on the opposite side of the underwater viewing gallery, I wanted to make sure that there's a more drier area. So this is going to be more of like a little cave with a shelter for the otters to get some rest and some sleep. And obviously there has to be a path going from one side to the other side. So yeah, you can see me making that. And for those that have no idea, this whole zoo is focused on decorating around the boat safari. Everything is focused around the boat safari, and everything you can't see from the boat safari itself, I am not going to decorate. So yes, if you're wondering why does it look so ugly on top of the whole habitat, that is why I am not going to decorate it. And yeah, the only main focus of this whole zoo build is to have a very cool and beautiful POV of the boat ride itself at the end of this series. And that is basically all. I will upload the whole file to the workshop, of course, so you can do with it whatever you want. If you want to build a whole zoo around it, be my guest, but I am not going to do that. That's not the plan for the zoo, so that's why you're not seeing me decorating anything else except for the part you can see from the boat ride itself. So unfortunately you can't do super crazy because I really wanted to make this more on scale, or well, more on scale to be fitting with the size of the giant otter. So making a humongous habitat is not really going to work, especially not if you're working with a boat safari itself. Like, it's just passing by two glassy walls and you want to make sure that you're seeing these small little otters. They're giant otters, but they're still very small, especially comparing to all the other animals that we have in the zoo. So yeah, by making very thin, longer habitats in this case, there is a very high chance that you're able to see the giant otters when you're sitting in the boat. There's a very high chance that you see a few of them swimming in the water section, and maybe also see one or two on the other side with the cave viewing. So yeah, going too big is not really working well in my opinion with these type of animals. So yeah, also the backside of the habitat itself are just very simple with very straight rocks in the end, but I do still like how it turned out, even though you can't go too crazy with it. And of course the otters also need a very little stairs to go into the water, so I did make sure that we have this little stairs with the aquatic pack, and I think that looks just really cute, even though the guests can't really see it. But I don't know, that little staircase is just so amazing. I really do like it. So in the end, I was actually kind of struggling with the tunnel where the boat ride goes through it, because I felt like I made it thin enough for the boat ride, but in the end it felt like it was still way too big. So I really had to play around with a lot of the flat rocks and also combining it with the mossy tropical rocks, because that looks just really beautiful. And I really made it thinner with optical illusion, I don't know how you call it, but it looks really well if you combine those two rocks with the aquatic rock and the tropical rock, and with that making the path of the boat itself thinner. And I really was afraid that it would still feel way too big and that I had to do it all over again and like move everything closer to the boat ride, but I'm really happy in the end how it has turned out with the rock formations in front of the glass. It really doesn't bother me anymore, and it really doesn't feel too wide anymore. So I'm really happy with how that tunnel in the end turned out, also with a little bit of green, a little bit of grass and other plants and trees to make sure that it all felt a little bit more dense and thinner in the end. And also the cave that we are building on one side for the giant otters, well, it's a small little cave actually, where they can rest and chill. I was actually kind of surprised, even though I should have known, that the otters are not able to sleep on hay or the leaf beddings, for example. Although I don't really know if they actually really don't use it, but if you type in giant otter and see what kind of enrichment items work for them, then you only have the jetty beddings. And I was like, yeah, well, jetty bedding, using it in this habitat is not gonna make any sense. So what I actually did was using the jetty bedding and then put hay on it and then put leaves on it, and I really have no idea if it actually will work. I saw a very cute otter walking around on that other side, and oh man, they walk so adorable, so that's so cute. But it actually stopped in front of the cave and then walked back. So I in the end have no idea what he was doing there or what his plan was. And it was super cute, and you can see it in the end of this video in the cinematic shots for a little bit. You see him standing in front of the cave and then just rotating and walking back again. So yeah, I really have no idea if it works. I guess it will still work. I really have no idea. we have to wait and see about that, I guess. So the entrance of this tunnel is actually just decorated with the same stuff that we used in front of the entrance of the underwater tunnel for the hippos. So yes, we have an episode with an underwater tunnel where a boat rides through. So that is really cool. I'm super happy with how that underwater tunnel has turned out. But yeah, in front of that tunnel, there was a very nice natural area with some rocks and tropical trees and shrubs and stuff. So I actually just duplicated that in front of this area. So if you haven't seen the previous episode yet, we uploaded the saltwater crocodile island. So this one is basically right after that episode. So in between, there is the entrance of this cave. And yeah, I decorated it with the area in front of the hippo habitat. And it looks just super nice, super beautiful. And I was like, yeah, well, I can do it all over again. But it's the same idea, just moving some plants and stuff, and you really will not notice that it is copy pasted from a different area from this zoo. So yeah, whenever you can duplicate anything, it's gonna save you tons of time. So I would highly recommend you to start doing it yourself as well, because it makes life so much easier sometimes. So yeah, as I said, like the last things I did was like decorating the whole area with some more plants, some more tropical rocks and stuff to really give those final little touches in the habitat. Next to the little cave that we have, also adding some palm trees and those kind of tropical plants to really give it a dense and natural feeling still. I'm super happy with the end result of this whole habitat, so I really hope you guys will like it and that I'm able to inspire you guys, because that is obviously still my main goal of my channel, is to hopefully inspire you guys to do the same, of giving you ideas of things you can do in the game or change it or whatever. I really do hope that I am able to do that for you guys. Do let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of this tunnel for the giant otter. I'm really happy with the end result. Please do leave a like if you like this video, and subscribe of course if you haven't already, and if you want to see more Planet Zoo content on the channel, I definitely have you covered. And if you want to support the channel a little extra, you may want to consider to become a Fay Fam member with the link down in the description or with the join button of YouTube. And of course you can also find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and all those other social media platforms, so definitely go and check out the description down below with all the links to my platforms. And I really hope to see you guys there, or maybe in my Twitch live streams. I stream every Monday and Wednesday at 7 p.m. CET, so that will be amazing if you guys would be able to come in and say hi in one of my streams. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, I really hope to see you guys all in the next one. Bye guys!